And we are live talking about Daredevil Born Again. Welcome, Sammy. How are you today?
I'm good, sir, and you?
I'm doing great. Now, this is your first time with me talking about Daredevil, so before we really uh, dive deep, I
Mm-hmm.
don't know what's going on with me. I just woke up.
Yeah,
But
it's fine.
before we dive deep into episode 7, I want to hear your thoughts on the Netflix show we had prior.
As far as I remember, because I only saw them once years ago, I loved them. I think they were the best Netflix shows. All of Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist, and the Defenders, which was just a $0 version of the Avengers. And I believe it was amazing. But I think the best one was the third season. The character development was amazing. Bullseye was such a great villain. How they built up to him too. Um, but I think what really sold me out was obviously Wilson Fisk, which
Yeah.
is the reason why we remember the TV show today is because of Wilson Fisk. So yeah, I think the Netflix show were a masterpiece. I think what objectively didn't age properly, and that's true because you could see that they didn't have as much money as Disney does. Is some fight choreography you can if you rewatch them today, you're like, okay, yeah, you can see how they were limited. But beside that, all three seasons were great. I think my favorite scenes and is the one where Wilson Fisk take Matt Murdock in the prison and he's just slap him out and when he's in jail
Yeah,
in
yeah.
season two. Also, the Punisher. Yeah, the Punisher in season two was like one of the best part. So yeah, that's my overall thought.
I'm surprised about your opinion on season 3. I talked to a lot of people, the people in our circle, including myself. We didn't really enjoy season 3 as much as 1 and 2. I think that was a serious downgrade. Season 3, as much
You
as
you
the
can
character arc was nice, the storyline with the FBI and Fisk just using the FBI like that was a bit odd. Or Matt teleporting from the church to Fisk penthouse by the end of the season. That was weird. But that's good that you liked season 3 more than most of us. Now,
I think season two, what bothered me beside Punisher, which I loved, is I wasn't a fan of the hand. I think they took too much places, and Daredevil becoming a simp of Elektra, and then they extended that to Defenders. It kind of bothered me a lot, and that's why I thought season
Someone hasn't
three.
read the comics.
Huh?
Someone hasn't read the comics.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. I didn't read the comics. You're right.
Daredevil's always borderline a simp for. Actually, he has two loves. He has his the one he's with within Born Again, and he also has Elektra.
You think you're talking about Heather?
Heather, yes. There's also Vanessa.
I think she's the best for him, to be honest. She's the best
Then,
person he
then
ever
you
had.
also have he always occasionally simps for Elektra. Unironically,
I'm sorry, what?
he always simps for Elektra.
Yeah, yeah, but I think I don't know. I didn't like his relationship with Electra. I think the best one for me is with Heather. I think he that's the best girlfriend he ever had from all the girlfriend he slept with.
yeah. Well, I think the point of Electra was showing how toxic a relationship can be, and that was
Yeah,
the
yeah,
idea behind
that's it.
season 2 relationship. It was eating inside of him, and yeah, that was something. Now, welcome the dragon. I'm glad you could join us. Now, I will ask Sammy before we dive deep into episode 7. What did you think of Born Again, the first 6 episodes so far, and Foggy's death and everything that's going on?
Well, to be frank, I think the first 15 minutes of in the opening scene that everybody thought was mind blowing, I wasn't because I didn't like the one take shot. I didn't think it was well made. It felt shitty. It felt like the one take shot in No Way Home, which was pretty shitty. I don't know why, but the MCU can't make good one take shot. They should have a better DP. But no disrespect, but it just didn't work for me. And using Bullseye as a bait, just like they use Crossbone and Civil War, pisses me off because they just use him in the beginning just to say, okay, he's here, deal with it. Now we kick him out and he's not here anymore. So I like it the fact that they brought the danger part back and the fact that Foggy died. So now because of this, Matt Murdock is questioning whether he should be Daredevil again. So he just gave up. That was the part that I liked a lot. And then the rest of the episode was great. The episode 2, 3, they were good also. 4, 5, 2. But I think my favorite one was the episode 5 and 6, the two-part episode. Per quote, the bank one was really fun, really imaginative. Felt like a film of the '90s. It was really good. And the sixth episode where Fisk and Matt literally are born again on their side was also great. And also, I also love Michael Gandolfini. I think this is the first time from everything that I saw from him that he can actually show that he's gonna maybe outlive his father or becoming something close to what James Gandolfini was for Tony Soprano. I think what pisses me off is that not about the show, but about Michael is that I'm gonna go out subject, but it's still linked to that. I don't know if you guys saw the mini scent of Newark, but it wasn't a good film that didn't do justice to The Sopranos. And then that show, it shows that Michael Gandolfini is such a good actor that if we give him a good script, he can actually do amazing prestation. And I wouldn't be surprised if they ever feels that he could replace him. I also like the fact that because people say it bothered them, but I like the fact that they tossed Karen away, and
Yeah,
it's Karen, right? It's Karen
yeah,
away
Karen. Yeah,
to give Matt Murdock a better girlfriend because their situation right now isn't working, and Matt need to move on from things. She need to move on from things, and she's gonna come back. So I think I like it the fact also that since it's been such a long time that people have seen the last 3 seasons. This show is built as a legacy sequels, not just a direct sequels, so it can give context to people who might not have the time to see the other season, which is what I loved about those episodes. You guys see what I'm going at?
yeah, 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 and it's very interesting, and maybe that's food for thoughts. But I think they tossed away Karen, Foggy, and Bulleye to save money. Let's be honest.
But I heard that
They
she's coming back in a more important part in season 2. That's what I
I
read.
would be surprised. I think they want to save some money. That's why they remove these characters. But if she really indeed comes back, that would be a nice touch. But again, I think it's to save some money. That's why they remove these characters because they cost money to use, and the actors also are really pricey. They cost a lot because they were there in the original series. That's why they kind of tossed them away to save some money.
And I and I
But
and I and I heard in the comics Foggy come back, so I believe he might come back in season 2. I just hope they won't do a Winter Soldier type of storyline because that's gonna piss
they
me off.
already did it, yeah.
Yeah.
But I would be surprised, really. I would be surprised. So I guess now we can dive deep into episode 7.
No, I don't think it's about money with why they're doing it. I think they're they're trying to blur the storylines. Like I think their initial plan was just to do Born Again,
Mm-hmm.
which
Like a complete reboot.
I think they were trying to do the Born Again base.
Mm-hmm.
Uh but what's happening is they're crossing over into Shadowlands
Mm-hmm.
because a key part about Born Again was Daredevil was going insane, which I picked that up halfway through the first what they call season 1, which is really part 1 of the episodes.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to have Matt to a breaking point, like he's going psychotic, because the original Born Again storyline is 19. It is from 86, so that's how old the storyline is. Shadowlands is roughly more recent. Shadowlands has the whole idea he gets infected by the beast of the hand. But do not worry, they are not going to go that far because they would have to explain what gives the hand its power and mystical side of Marvel. They never will. They never, at least MCU, because he starts to go insane. And in
Mhm.
Born Again, that's what you see. At least it also does have the Mayor Fist storyline, except you
Yeah.
weren't here when I said it's too. Except the difference is Fisk doesn't know who Daredevil is. So, and if you haven't learned, the supposed suit teased for the last 7 episodes is the Shadowland suit, which is the black suit. If it is the black suit, it's the Shadowlands.
I saw some pictures in season two. If you didn't, but he's supposed to have the
The
suit.
Shadow, the idea is that's a very, very different story because the first half is supposed to be Muse, followed by the second half is supposed to be Punisher.
Oh,
Least.
I got a question for you guys.
Go for
Because
it.
I
Yeah.
forget to mention it, but that scene with Punisher and Murdoch was amazing, and I wonder what they're gonna do with Punisher moving forward. And I just like the fact that we don't know exactly what happened to him post season two of Punisher, but I'm just
I
curious about what they're gonna
I
do with him post that.
I I think he will go after the Fist Squad. Um,
Yeah, probably.
I think he will go after them, and also I think there were hints at maybe some people disguising themselves as Punisher because they would wear the
Yeah,
same
they had
suit as
tattoos
him.
too.
Yeah, and I think his entire thing will be, oh, these guys are not me. I hate them, and I will just end them. I think
Hmm.
that's what they will be doing.
No,
And
so a lot of so in Daredevil Born Again, Fisk did have his own task force, like a Punisher Corps.
it doesn't go well when other people
And
try to
then
do his job.
he did have that. He created it because bear in mind this was 80s Punisher,
Hmm.
little more vigilante, but in reality it's the show again. If they're blurring the line with Shadowlands, you just need the reason for Matt Murdock to be the way he is.
Hmm.
But you're going to do Shadowlands without the mystical side, which, let's face it, it's going to look really funny. So you're going to have to do it with a psychological tinge. Now, the thing about it is, without diving into seven, because your thoughts, because, here's the thing: the Muse was the sign that, okay, prior to anything, Muse was a very short lived, villain,
Hmm.
but he's also very terrifying.
Yeah.
They don't go with his. Now, I do feel like I had a feeling they were going to throw away Muse. Because Muse's powers are supposed to be sensory deprivation.
I
So,
think Muse is just done.
well,
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm kind of
no.
surprised that they waste him like that because they built him to be the lead antagonist, and now the guy got shot 4 times by Heather. So I'm wondering who's the villain now. So what's
Spoiler, but that's fine.
Well, the
We
only
will spell
way,
the entire thing soon, so
the
that's fine.
only, the only thing, right, is Muse has regenerative powers. He is a kind of a metahuman for Marvel, but he's also one of the most terrifying villains Daredevil
Mhm.
fights in the terms that he basically has sensory deprivation powers, and it makes Daredevil really hard to fight. Because in the original storyline as well, you have Punisher, then you also have a man known as Nuke. If you do not know who Nuke is,
I think I do. Isn't that his type of Captain America, but crazy?
he was
Like a
part of
John
the
Walker, but 20
he's
times
like
crazy.
part of the Weapon H program, yes. That
Oh yeah.
has that they thought they could do something with, but he goes suddenly insane, yes. And then that's what allows, but at the end of Born Again, it allows him to go back to being the head of going back to being the heroes of Hell's Kitchen. But what makes Shadowlands interesting is versus Born Again is he had left Hell's Kitchen and didn't come back until after in the comics, which is known as Dark Reign.
Mm.
So, and it's also Matt Murdock is going insane, being more violent and more demon. Because what gives the hand their power is the beast. And
Mm.
it's not the first time Daredevil has gone to the side of weird, evil anti hero. Because Elektra has been the head of the hand at one point recently before they fucked off Punisher in a controversial storyline. They made him the host of the Beast. But that is what there's a mystical side to the hand. The hand resurrects people as well as if they really want the leader, they make the person the host of the beast. Which would be an interesting idea, but again, I don't. DC doesn't explore magic, nor do they just. Nor do they. I don't think MCU can do it. And if this is supposed to play into the MCU, it's rated R series. And the thing with the Punisher, right? They are talking an Elektra series. If this goes well, they're talking about an Elektra series as well as a Punisher series.
That sounds fun.
But you
Hopefully, they
have
won't
it
mess that
has to
one up.
be it has to be. But here's the thing about a rated R series, and this is what the series is. It is gritty.
Yeah,
Now I will. You want to get into 7 now, or you
yeah,
want?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
you
I'll
can.
start.
yeah,
I'll start with 7.
yeah.
Okay, 7 is compared to 5. 5 it was slower, but 5 was rewritten that it works with the whole. Like I saw one comic book reviewer, he goes calls 5 filler or a bottle episode. I think 5 was reworked.
Mm.
6 had the point that you have to give the reason officially Daredevil has to come back. Now, 7 is dealing with the fallout of the girl getting out. Now, I would have thought they were at least going to deal with the Muse fully about six, about 8 or 9 versus what they did.
That's
I think
surprising as well. Yeah.
Yeah, so
I thought
I'm
because
not sure I follow.
you need, okay, you want the board, you want the Shadowland.
Mm-hmm.
Hypothetically, you want the Shadowlands Daredevil. You're going to do it without him being possessed by the hand.
Mm-hmm.
You need him to kill somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Well, half the thing in Shadowlands is he thinks he killed somebody and he didn't kill them.
Mm-hmm.
But he gets really violent and gets really close. Because that's why the Shadowlands suit is more demonic looking. It looks very like gargoyle-ish. That's actually the key to it. And he has the more bushier beard, like the devil looking beard. Now you start to see that a little bit, but it's just in the aftermath of that. But in the comics, they don't explain the origins of Muse. But if you go back and if you remember in episodes 1 through up leading up, you've seen that artist before.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they're not going to say he's some weird faceless person because what he does is he feeds on, in the comics, he feeds on blood and he has like the sensory deprivation and that, like, those powers. It's like regenerative powers. That's why, like, it would have made sense that when he was being choked out by Daredevil, Daredevil would have thought he's out versus
Mm-hmm.
he can get up and do whatever. But this is how they deal with it. They actually, I do feel this is one of the weaker episodes because, well, you have 3 things solved,
Mm-hmm.
which it's either, I'm guessing they're going to save the other 2 episodes to do it. And it might be, this is one of those episodes I like to see how they're going to tie it up because you need the execution for the ending of the 9th to go into the last 7th. Because we're going to have about a 6-month hiatus.
For the second two, no, it's gonna be next
Probably
year, no?
more. Yeah, I think it will be
They're
next year.
shooting for fall. So they're going Gotham style of this.
Oh
So,
my. So I'm worried now. If they really want to aim for the fall, that's going to be an issue because if they just started shooting, the post production will be like accelerated.
okay, did they say they just started shooting too?
Uh,
Yeah,
but I think it's no. I think if they want quality, they'll need to take time with editing, and they need to
at
release it
least next
next
year.
March,
Okay, correct me
realistically.
if I'm okay. Did they say they started season 2
Well,
already?
they've been shooting since February.
Yeah,
So if they've been shooting since then, we were talking going into fall or
more than
winter.
this.
It
It
usually
Winter.
takes almost 9 months to shoot a TV show like this. So
if
No,
if
remember
they want to
Gotham.
make it right, it will take at least 9 months, but
No, but
probably
remember
more.
Gotham. Gotham had a batch of episodes in the fall going
yeah,
into
but
the
Gotham was
spring.
different. It was like 10 years ago, and
no disrespect to Gotham, but it felt like a cheap show. So
yeah,
I don't think they had as much money as Disney does.
that's true. And that's like 10 years ago. 10 years ago, it was very different. They needed that for network TV, but now it's like streaming TV, like so, it's different.
See, that's something I had to. But here's like, okay, so Muse, right, does have a human face, but in the comics, he doesn't have a human face because he's just a sadistic monster. As I said, part of his powers is sensory deprivation.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's hard for Matt Murdock to fight him. But he is one of the scariest villains Daredevil ever fights.
I do
Be-
wonder, would he come back? Could he resurrect in the comic or not?
He doesn't.
Hopefully not.
He's not okay. The reason why, with the way they finish him off, if they say he okay, first off, you have to establish he's a quote unquote metahuman or has weird metaphysical powers to a degree. Like his skill and power set is defined. He has super strength, regeneration, whatever else.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's kind of like neither of you saw the Caped Crusader, right? They
I
showed
didn't.
they
No.
they showed Onomatopoeia. And Onomatopoeia is a weird villain in a similar vein like Muse. He has regeneration, he has speed, he has this. And it's not like it's a screw you power set, but it's within limits. And Muse, of course, going after. Now, I am curious why he has sudden nosebleeds. It would explain because the scene itself, because Daredevil, if this was going to be like he starts just bleeding from his nose and starts drawing with his stuff. Because what's funny is Heather is also the same therapist they were going through for marriage counseling. So, and it's a little weird how that plays out. That he just transforms or has a costume. It is more convenient because Mew should have remained more hidden, one would think, compared to his counterpart. Now, I will say, I like so the fight itself, right? Why he is Muse is because of her. I guess it's like, oh, are you
Yeah.
doing whatever? And it's a weird way because if you need a human to be that way versus an inhuman monster, because in the comics, the best they can do is just shove Muse away because Muse is not human. Think of Muse in the comics as Joker without the filter
Oh,
when they introduced him. He is the most sadistic version of Joker, minus,
so he's kind of the Joker to Daredevil.
but he is just a mass murderer.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the whole thing, he is a mass murderer, is an understatement. Because in the comics, he has, like, the same number of victims, like 60 victims.
He
But,
still has like 60, over 60 in that TV show, so
like,
he still is
the
an
idea is
example
he
there.
was okay. For every, you have to think about it, because for every mural, he had to drain blood. Let that sink in. That takes more than one person. And for every mural there's in the comics like mass like murder.
But
So
that's what they said, like he has
they
like
say there's
around
at least
60.
a lot of victims, not the exact.
They
But they
they
say
said 60 they know of. That's what they said.
yeah, that's kind of from the comics, but they he gets basically the fight happens. Now my thing is they don't show how Daredevil got in. Now what I think is interesting is how okay, there's a part of the episode which is funny when he's asking in the lair. Matt has to find out about Muse because Muse has been killing people. I'm guessing he can read the lines by the bumps on his hand. Read like braille reading. That's a weird way, but I'm pretty sure that's a Daredevil like heightened senses, like especially if it's painting or the way something is layered, because he is well, blind. But it's also he realizes it's Vanessa that he has to go save, and he's more vindictive. Now, what is very different is apparently cops. There's a piece of tissue or canvas. That's how the cops trace the blood, I guess, to the guy because that's compressed. They say it all is missing but one because it's a rare type of canvas. And then they hint because Daredevil like literally shoots his spike through him, through a
Mm-hmm.
vein or something.
Yeah, that was so bloody. I think it was the bloodiest thing Marvel ever done since the beginning
Well,
of
it's a
the
rated
MCU.
R series,
Yeah, yeah.
and
But
that's the thing where they
I'm
fight.
just glad that Feige said, you know what? I trust you guys.
I don't think it's where he gets like. Well, yeah, no, Feige doesn't have as much power in this series as you think
You
because
think?
he. No, there's a discussion about current head of Marvel, and Feige is not one of them. This is like a
I'm
different
surprised.
direction.
He's
So
just greenlighting stuff.
he's greenlighting now. That's about it. Because every
Mm.
major project he touches turns to shit.
Well, I look, wait, look. I agree and I don't agree. I don't think he's the problem. I think the former CEO was the problem because he ordered so many TV shows and films that he had to fill the gaps, and now it backfired at him because Feige is a visionary, and I think he's either unmotivated or he just trying to
I
keep the
have
book
to.
afloat.
Okay, let me say this on Feige. Feige has misses. You can be a visionary, but the whole problem is if Phase 5 was his masterpiece, I have a bad thing. I would rather see James's Gunn's universe of DC
Mm-hmm.
than Feige's version.
I'm
Because,
with that, but let's go
but
back
anyways,
to
but no.
if not
So in
Savannah.
Daredevil, what they're doing is,
Yeah,
I'm
sorry.
like, I was like, they're
That's
going
fine.
to kill off Muse. Like
Mm-hmm.
that'd be weird to kill off Muse, because I had the suspicion they're going to kill off Muse. Where, but you need that fight because they're also showing that he is also brutal, but he also has at least he's able to fight Daredevil on par. But he was able. Now, there's a couple of things in the episode. I'm not. How did Daredevil get in? Like, normally you would see, oh, Daredevil got there quickly, then got through there. Right? Because you see earlier in the episode, he was hanging in the rafters in the lair, then says out of, oh shit, batons the guy in the cop into the face,
Mm-hmm.
which tells Fisk for sure Daredevil's back because he's reading the thing and out of sheer defensive nature takes the baton, chunks it into the guy's face. Well, okay. He's like, oh fuck, then he has to get over there. I am assuming that you actually, but you don't see how he gets in. It looks that was a green screened in shot with him breaking through the window. Even I had to check that myself. I'm like, okay, so that was added in that fight, but the fight still happened about the same. Then but you also have the whole thing. He pulls out the gun, or he gets shot, or whatever. Now, here's where it's going to be interesting. He could have said, oh, Daredevil killed the guy. No, your squad shot and killed Muse.
That's what I
That
loved
was
it.
to
I loved that part.
legitimize it and to say he's a liar, and I think that will blow up in Fisk face. But let's keep going.
Actually, you forget the other part of the key part in the episode early on, and watch this have payoffs. Do you know the right hand man who's there? Because this is where I said it's like the third leg. This is one of the few episodes with three legs, three plots. Because remember, we still need to deal with the plots with him being at the head of the table. It's the one guy who's the aide. He says, "You're using the task force as your own personal power."
Yeah,
Which, that is probably what's going to blow up in his face.
Mm-hmm.
Because the thing about it is, he doesn't mind that Daredevil is back. Because even the aide earlier in the episode said, Daredevil saved the girl. Let him go after Muse. And then he goes, "You know why I brought you in? Because you have a different way of thinking." This is episode. These episodes, you have to pay attention to the small details. The small details feed the whole, typically. So he basically, he goes, "Yes, so let Daredevil get the guy, and then we take credit." Because doesn't that seem weird? Because you also have the aide, the girl who hurt him on the Trash Man story earlier in the season. He's using her. She goes, "You're going to say the squad, the special task force, killed." That's a lie, because we all know that's Daredevil. There's two key. Like, that was actually, that one part was shoved in. Because bear in mind, that's a small part. Now, that same guy who's the aide for Fisk, the other one, Vanessa's telling the Irish leader, who's very pissed about having to pay back the $2 million, is meeting Fisk is eating alone. I'm like, okay, so Fisk is going to find this guy and then beat the shit out of him. It's gonna be interesting. So she texts him the location he's supposed to be alone. As soon as he walks through the door, he's shot through the head by Fisk's henchman. So Vanessa turned on the one guy to get him killed. And that's the end of the episode. Now, you're probably going to see the payoff to this is Muse is dead. Now you're going to have, at least, you're going to have to have a payoff to lead to Daredevil and Fist's confrontation. Because you also have the side plot to where Heather is also having the conversation where Daredevil is, which is in Shadowland style. You have a beast welling up inside of you, negative emotions, etc., etc. And I'm like, okay, so this is how they're going to pull off Shadowlands. Shadowlands is going to be him, the combination of going with Born Again and Shadowlands, but without the possession of the beast. Basically, he's going to have the dark, bottled up emotions. But yeah, but don't forget, that's why I said at the end, they killed the Irish leader. I'm just like, okay. But overall, because of the way some of the action, the phoned in parts are, I rate it lower. I give it a 7.5 because part of the issue is this episode, while the action scenes are good, the in between, why stuff happens outside of moments, Why would he not wait till the cops are gone from the later? There's like certain cinematography that's weaker, and there is more green screen.
Perfect. Do you want to add anything else,
No, I'm
Lord?
good.
Okay, perfect. So I guess now this is Sammy turn. What did you think of episode 7?
The episode 7. Um, I was surprised because I was kind of scared because I didn't have the time to watch it this week, and I was reading reviews, and they were like, "This is bad. This is the worst episode. It's episode 2." Nah, nah, nah. And I was like, "Damn! I hope I won't be disappointed." And I saw it just before being with you guys, and I was surprised of how good the episode was. Uh, and I think my favorite part of the episode was Muse and the therapist, and when he almost killed her, I was so scared because I was like, no, no, don't kill Heather, no. And then Daredevil show up, and there's the big fight, and then he got shot, and I think it was a great episode. It was a good
No, that would have
follow up.
been a good motivator because
Huh?
Heather is one of the motivators why in Shadowlands he goes dark.
That's cool. Okay, so
Mhm.
I guess you can continue, Sammy. Sorry for
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
derail.
That's no problem. And then I also like the fact that Fix took credits for this because his ego shattered him, and he wants to prove to the city that vigilantes are a problem. And I think this is gonna lead to Spider-Man 4 probably having Fisk, and they don't want to tell us, but I'm pretty convinced that Fisk is gonna be a problem for Spider-Man because this is building up to that. And and I think that's what I really loved is that it just show how Fisk is just coming back as the kingpin slowly but surely. But now that he's a mayor, it's gonna be twice worse because he's gonna make twice damage. And I think uh, what I was gonna say is, but yeah, overall I liked it. I think the first act in the beginning was a bit slow, but the really the part between Muse and Heather until the end was great. The rest was okay, but overall, I loved it. I just wish they didn't kill Muse. I just wish she shot him and he turned back and then Daredevil knocked him out or something. I don't think killing him was a good idea, but I hope they have a reason for this, and I do hope. That would be crazy if they do that. But I don't think they do, but that would be crazy if there's people who actually become fans of news and there's someone else trying to be him. I think that would be crazy, but it will show how it can influence some psychopath or people. But yeah, I think that was the only thing I didn't like is that killing him. I don't see why. I wonder why the writers decided to kill him. But I hope they have a good reason. But the rest, it was great, especially the scene when he's slicing the arm of Heather. I was so anxious and stressful. And Marvel haven't made me anxious for this since Infinity Wars. So yeah,
That's good. So my guess is they did that to give a storyline to the girlfriend. Like she will struggle with the fact that she shot someone.
yeah.
That's the only explanation I got. But yeah, do you want to add anything else?
Mm, no, no, not now. But I'm guessing that episode is also building up slowly for Hawkeye and Spider Man and Punisher. Um, solo future. I think this is why he said vigilantes cannot be trusted. I think that line was on purpose to build up to those storylines because they just announced Hawkeye season 2. They gonna do a Punisher specials and I guess TV show. So yeah, that's it. I think this is gonna lead to that.
That's interesting. I didn't know about Outguy season 2.
Yeah,
Hopefully it will be good.
I haven't seen
So
the one, but yeah.
me neither, but eventually I will end up watching it. But yeah, do you want to add anything else?
No, 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 that's fine. We're
Okay.
done already.
Not yet. Well, I will share my thoughts, but I don't have a lot to say. But
Sure.
I will still share that a bit. So I really enjoyed the show so far. I think it's a bit underrated, and there's a lot of hate that's not really justified. But I can understand some people having issues. I have issues of my own, but it's more like on the season overall than the individual episode. I think the individual episode of that TV show are solid. I really
Hmm.
like that. But
Hmm.
again, I will repeat what I've already said in previous streams about that season so far, and now we are near the end of the season, so I guess it's fair critique about the season so far. I have three issues with the entire season so far. The first issue would be filler and forgettable supporting characters, the friend
Hmm.
cop and the boss. Like, why
Yeah.
do we need them? Uh,
Yeah.
I, I, I will be honest. At first, I thought that was cool to have the cop because the cop was the only guy that knew about Matt's secret and he was kind of replacing Foggy. But they didn't do anything with that character, and now he's just like that moral campus saying it's wrong to do that. But like, is he a
Hey,
character on its own? Not really.
I want to
He's
ask
just
you something because
yeah,
I don't know why, but are they trying to do a type of Jim Gordon for Marvel? I think they're trying to do that with him because episode 7. I'm really sorry to cut you off, but that scene in episode 7 with Matt and him arguing, it really reminded me of Batman and Gordon. Do
yeah.
you think
Well,
they're trying to do that?
uh, I don't think so because they said he's retired, and when he was a cop, he was more supportive, but now he's no
Yeah,
longer supportive because he's no longer a cop. I think that only reason why they would keep that character around is to have Matt confide in someone and to have a Foggy like character that's a moral campus. That's like the only reason. But even there, I feel like that character should get more material because after all, there's so much focus on him. If you just use him to have Matt have a moral campus, that's wasting a character.
yeah, you're right. I totally agree
Because
with
in
you.
universe, Foggy is in by this time. Foggy is dead because
Yeah,
of the opening, and you need somebody, and that's why I say with Heather in this episode, part of the weird thing in Shadowlands is who pulls Daredevil back
yeah,
is
but
Heather.
yeah,
So you have to have a grounded compass because he in the supporting people around, and that's why that one detective, because I didn't say in my part as well, because his role felt rushed. A lot of those, if you look at the scenes he was in this episode,
he's an
they
afterthought.
they are no, it is, it looks like it's entirely phoned in.
He's
Like
an
it
afterthought.
looks, because I'm going to ask you this, Multi. When you
Yeah,
see him, right? He was hanging in the rafters in the subway tunnel.
Mm.
yeah,
Oh, and you just suddenly hear a crack and you see him bust through the window. Yeah, no, that was cut into the episode.
yeah,
So it's the same thing with the cutaway to the current office. Like the scene with him talking to the black, like, attorney lady.
yeah. Well,
That
the
just
boss.
felt unnecessary.
Yeah,
That just felt
the
unnecessary.
boss. The I think what I suspect with the boss is to give Matt something to do when he is not Daredevil, and the other thing I think the boss character is from the previous version of the show, and they just kept her around because of her contract or some crap like that. And this is why we are stuck with a useless character. Because let's be honest, the boss don't bring anything outside of oh Matt is lying to someone again. It's like maybe she's the connective tissue between Matt and the girlfriend, but even there, like they don't really share that many scenes together. She's
Well, he
just the
does
one
need
that,
he needs a
Heather, you
legit
talking about
date.
Heather?
yeah.
No,
Yeah.
Vanessa, the black.
Well, but I was talking about both, but again, the boss, the lady at Matt office, filler character. She she's not needed. She's from the previous version of the show. Um, and my second issue so far with that season is the pacing wasn't great. Lots of scenes throughout the season are rinse and repeat. The perfect example, the street interview. As much as I like the street
I
interviews,
like this one.
I like the street interviews. Don't get me wrong, I like it, but I feel like they need to place at least one or two each single episode, and most of the time it's the same thing. It's someone for the vigilantes and then someone else against it, or
Hmm.
uh, it's cool like having that early in the season. It gives you a vibe. The city is a character and it's cool, but they overplayed it, and
Hmm.
I understand there are kind of the incentive of Matt suiting back up again because he's watching to these interviews, and that's cool. But we didn't need that many street interviews. A lot feel like filler because they're like, oh, we need extras, we need runtime, and it's unfortunate. Uh,
You know, I'll continue. I'll say it after.
yeah, well, go for it since we are right there.
It reminded me why I liked it. The street interviewing doesn't bother me is that I don't know if you guys noticed, but ever since, or maybe I'll say Avengers One, well, so ever since post Phase One, uh, I think what I know people hate Joss Whedon and it's fine, but we cannot deny that what Whedon's strength had in the first Avengers, for example, is that you saw people opinions about vigilantes, and they never brought that back again. So
Yeah.
I liked it, the fact that we saw that again in Daredevil, because I think it gave some realistic context on what people would think if a hero existed. So I like the fact that they brought that back and into a documentary style for Born Again. I don't think they overplay it. I think it's interesting because it just gives New York City and Daredevil more life. And I hope they'll do it
It's
again for
it
other TV
gives,
show and films. You know.
but I was gonna say this. I think that okay, this episode. The reason why I give it a lower rating than I gave the others, especially, is because a lot of the stuff you would have thought episode 5 in the bank had the weird phoned in. And see, I don't know if Roselle like. Okay.
You didn't like
Yeah.
the bank episode? I thought it was good.
No, the bank episode's different. So the idea, this episode, they're just green screening in now. They literally cut in, like as I said, there was weird cuts in this one that it makes the episode weird. That's
Yeah.
why I said, like, very must have been last edits. Like the man on the street stuff was cut very short in this one. The conversation between the ex cop, the confidant, the show Roselle. This does have a lot of Daredevil, but
Yeah.
there's a reason why it's this way though. But you're seeing it yourself. I'm going to ask both of you. Did you not see the cuts that were inserted in?
I didn't, but
Yeah.
that's going on tangent again. So to get back on track, my last
Mhm.
issue so far with the season is I feel like it's a rehash of what we already had with season 3. I think it's done better than season 3, but what I mean by a rehash, um, in season 3, if I remember correctly, it's been a long time, but there was quite some time in that season where Matt didn't want to be Daredevil, and then when he came back to be Daredevil, he had the black suit, and it was more about revenge and finishing off Fisk and all. And at the very end, he decided to spare him, but I think for most of season 3, wasn't really trying to be Daredevil. Uh, and I feel like it's the same thing again with Born Again. But I get it. That's the story they wanted to tell. But it feels like season 3 2.0 or like season 3.5 more than season 4.
Mhm.
And I get it. That's why they took out Foggy. It's to give that kind of storyline, but it feels already old and it feels already overused.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but again, that's for the entire season, and I'm kind of cool because that's a character arc. But again, they already did that. Um, but to get back to episode 7 is a solid one in my books. I really enjoyed all of it, despite me
Mm-hmm.
saying, "Oh yeah, the friend cop is not really needed." I get why they had that scene there. It's to have like Matt having someone question his choice of suiting back up, and that's cool. We need that kind of stuff. But again, I will repeat what I said. I feel like the cop should have a character arc of its own to justify his presence in the show. If they don't do that, uh, just being a moral campus is not enough. If you really look back at the first 3 seasons of the show, even Nelson, Foggy Nelson, had character arc despite also being in moral campus. It was still feeling like a full fledged character that was
Mm-hmm.
needed,
Yeah.
and it's not the case with the cop friend, and it's kind of sad. I enjoyed the scenes they have together, but the character itself is kind of weak. Um, and I will let them cook. Again, maybe they will shock and surprise me in the next 2 episodes, but so far, this is what I got. Now,
Mm-hmm.
when it came to this episode, uh, Fisk lying to discredit Daredevil and to uplift his team was very fun, and it felt like Fisk, and that will blow up in his face. Matt not trusting his boss with his true identity while she trusts him was kind of cool, but again, the boss character, she's not needed either. Um, Matt struggling to open up about his past, and Dee Dee was cool and made sense when it came to like his girlfriend and all. Um, Again, I don't have a lot to say, and I thought that was cool. All Fisk learned, oh, he is back in the suit. The action was very good. I think they have very good fight choreography. I'd say the first 2 seasons of Daredevil added slightly better,
Mm-hmm.
but it's in the same realm where, oh, it's good. I like that. It's better than whatever Iron Fist was.
Oh
um,
my god, yeah. But I heard they might bring the actor back.
oh my, please
So,
no.
by the way, there is one little subplot I forgot about.
Mm-hmm.
That is actually okay. Did you see the terror when he said Daredevil's back?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah,
okay, both him and Fisk have been doing this parallel thing. Like when the one guy says, "Oh, Daredevil is back," right?
yeah,
He goes, "This is the man who dismantled my organization." So Fisk is going back into the street mentality. So
yeah,
I was like, this might be the catalyst to get him to go. But also, before I forget to say this, if I don't ever see Sammy again on this, the reason why there was the no vigilante rule is because when Fisk became mayor in Port again, he
Mm-hmm.
also said vigilantes will not be tolerated because they break the law.
yeah,
But remember, in this universe, he also knows who he is.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
So the thing about it is, but compared to the comics, he also had that rule as well. But it is also so Fisk can use the cops as well to go after him.
yeah,
So the side plot on that one.
yeah,
But the whole thing of that's one of those things. There was one too many small quote unquote tangent storylines shoved into this one, and I don't know if they can make it land. So we can see how they get the last two. So.
yeah. So I don't have a lot more to say about episode 7 anymore. So to close off everything I was saying, I think the overall season does have issues, but the individual episodes are really good. So far, my favorite episode was episode 6, and episode 7 was very fun as well. Um, I have no issue with that specific episode, but I feel like a broken record because the only episode I truly had issue was the first one with the CGI, but the
Mm-hmm.
rest of the episode were very solid. And if we
Mm-hmm.
really take a look at single episode, that show is thriving in my books. If you pick the single episode, I think it's a bit better than the original, but if you look at the entire season overall, it's weaker. It's not as good. Um, that's all I had to say. So I guess we are on the outro, the closing thoughts on episode 7. I will give a 10 out of 10. What about you, Sammy?
For the episode 7,
Yeah.
um, mm, I think 8.5. I would have give more if they had kept Muse alive. Well, yeah, that's about it. 8.5. Between 8 and 8.5.
Okay, what about you, Dlord? What would be your
I
grade
gave
out
it
of
a
10?
7.5. It's just way too much. Like what they did is I would have been fine with the three subplots where you're trying to wrap up the Irishman storyline
Mm-hmm.
where there's
The
no
guy who uh who Fist killed.
the guy, you mean the one Buck killed that they
Yeah,
set
yeah,
up.
yeah, his hitman. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so the guy himself, right? Is the reason why I went in. This is an episode. If this is going to be the pivotal episode, you need. But the CGI is phoned in. There's too many cut scenes in this one.
Mm-hmm.
There's too many little cuts in post edits that hurts it compared to the others. Almost every other I either given a 10. I give it a 10 to. It's just this one it's phoned in this week in sections. And it's clearly either the CGI or it was like the reshoots showed.
Mm-hmm.
So
So that was a fun talk. We will have the same talk next Thursday around the same time for episode
Okay.
8. And there's another stream we will be doing in a moment about Death of a Unicorn. With that being said, we are out for now. Thank you guys. I had a blast and see you next Thursday if you guys want to come back for episode 8.